So Until Dawn came out tonight. Got a chance to see it. Let's talk about it a little bit. Settle in, grab your drink. Let's do it. Cheers.
We are the DFPN. Always question the answers.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Nightmares and Nerdscapes. I am CJ, and this is CJ Reviews. Tonight we're going to be talking about Until Dawn. New, what I call funhouse horror movie that was released by Sony Pictures along with PlayStation Productions. Directed by David Sandberg, written by Blair Butler and Gary Dauberman, and starring Ella Rubin as our, we'll call her our tragic heroine Clover, Michael Cimino, her lovelorn ex-boyfriend, Odessa Azion, who plays Nina, her Type A best friend, Ji Young Yu, who plays Megan, who is the spiritualist of the group, and then Belmont Camelli, who plays Abe, who is Nina's older boyfriend. This was a film that was on my most anticipated but least optimistic films of 2025, with trying to adapt what was originally supposed to be an anthology-style video game franchise like Until Dawn. And if you've played all of the games in that franchise, you have a cabin in the mountains type horror scenario with some twists and turns. But then you also have a rail shooter that takes you through essentially different fun houses and has you shooting clowns and all sorts of crazy shit. The idea of trying to adapt that was very interesting to me, but was also mildly concerning because I didn't know how they were going to be able to either adapt the video game in a way that fans of the game would like, right? If they were to stick with the story, or B, expand the universe in a way that it truly could become this multi-medium, multi-storyline anthology approach.
Up the road, there's a place stuck in time.
Right. Think about what John Carpenter originally wanted Halloween to be, right? He shot Halloween 1, did not want to bring Michael Myers back for a sequel, and said that if he were to do a sequel, he really wanted it to be an anthology style franchise. So essentially, if had the studios not paid John Carpenter what they did, we essentially would have gotten Halloween 1 and Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, right? Vastly different storylines, all set within the same universe, loosely, using Halloween as what ties them together. Until Dawn was originally supposed to be the same kind of concept based on my understanding of it. I was a big fan of the game when it first came out, absolutely loved it. It's one of the games that I got a platinum trophy on with the PlayStation, which I don't do that often, but I was very happy to do so with this one. And when I first heard the movie coming out, I was very, very excited to see what was possible, but I was not optimistic that it was going to be any good. I am happy to announce, or just to say, that I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this. It's not a heavy horror film. It's not a horror comedy, even though there are some funny moments. This is a splatter-style funhouse movie. Think along the lines of Wrong Turn or Cabin in the Woods, any of the films that take a group of stereotypical teens, throw them in an isolated area, and say, hey, survive some shit. Where this one takes a different turn, right? And where the Until Dawn title comes in is with its Groundhog's Day or Happy Death Day time manipulation, right? Or Edge of Tomorrow, right? Actually, Edge of Tomorrow was the most similar, where basically you have these 5 kids in this house, and when all 5 die, time resets to the beginning of the evening, and they go through it again, but with changes to the environment and changes to the things that are coming after them. I thought that initially that would be a cheesy plot device, but the way they do it and how they tie that into the original video game is very, very smart, and I really enjoyed it. So, basic premise of this one, and I've kind of gone over it already, right? But I'll be concise and put it all in one little blurb. Basically, you've got a young woman, Clover, played by Ella Rubin, whose sister went missing a year prior. So her and her 4 friends, 3 friends and one of her friend's boyfriends, are following her sister's last known path through the state. They don't really get into area too much, which I think was smart, but they're kind of following her path to see if they can find out where she went missing and how. And essentially you've got the friends that are going along with this to try to get Clover some closure, so that she can move on with her life. Clover is still not willing to admit that her sister might be dead. So eventually the last stop ends up being this gas station. So they stop at the gas station. Clover goes inside, talks to the gas station attendant, and finds out that her sister went to a specific area. And that's where a lot of people have gone missing over the years. So like with everything else, they don't call the authorities, they don't let parents know or anything else. They decide they're just going to take their SUV and go in there and see what's up. And when they get there, shit goes sideways, right? They find a guest book that's been signed multiple times by the same individual. They find a mechanism on the wall with an hourglass on it, that I'm sure if you've seen the trailers, you've seen this device. And that is essentially what guides the narrative, right? That is what tells you where you are, right? If the sand is full at the top, then you've restarted another day. If it's fuller at the bottom, then you're almost there. You've almost made it. And essentially every night that they go through this, every iteration of it, the monsters change, right? You'll go through, a serial killer or a werewolf or a vampire, or, there's just different things that are thrown at this group, which is why I call this funhouse horror. This is like going through an unthemed haunted house at a local amusement park, right? Every room has a different theme to it, and it's, you walk in, you're on edge, you're anxious, and then jump scare, and then you relieve tension, and you reset, and you keep going, right? The movie is set up in a very, very similar fashion up until the last act, which I think really ties everything together in a pretty satisfying way. But, as far as the premise goes, I think they did a good job of keeping it different enough from the original game that it stands on its own, but tying it back with enough Easter eggs and people popping up in weird places to make it part of that collected universe. And it leaves room for them to keep doing this. They absolutely can take this to different locations, and tweak the mechanism a little bit, and tweak the plot devices, and turn this into a franchise if they really want to. I don't know if they will. We'll see how the movie performs, but they absolutely have the knack to do that. I think Sandberg and Butler and Dauberman, between their writing and directing, have done a very, very good job of making almost a throwback Cabin in the Woods style film, right? So if somebody had shown up in this movie wearing airwalks, jinkos, and a wallet chain, I would not have been surprised, and they would not have felt out of place. It has a very late 90s, early 2000s feel to it. The way it's shot, the way the characters act, the group dynamic, it all feels very reminiscent of that time. So the first movie that kind of popped into my head was Wrong Turn. And then as I started digging into it a little bit more, it also kind of has almost an American Pie feel to it. It's not nearly that funny, but it's still that kind of American Pie 2, people coming into their own and making that jump into actual adulthood. So it's definitely an older film than, say, a Stand By Me or Goonies, where a lot of the characters are younger and they're coming into their teenage years. This is them shifting into adulthood, but very, very well done. From a cast standpoint, Ella Rubin and Michael Cimino here absolutely steal the show, as they should. They are essentially your lead couple, even though it's her and her ex-boyfriend. They drive a lot of the narrative forward. I was disappointed a little bit in Ji Young Yu's use as Megan. But I understand why they did it. This is a very tight film. It's got a runtime of just over an hour and a half. So they can't fully develop all of these characters to the level that I would like. So her spiritualism and her mysticism and the ESP that she purports to have are used to help educate those around her and to move the plot forward. So she was smartly used, but it was a character that I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from. In fact, you could have traded her for Abe and left him out of the movie, and I would have been completely fine. But again, I think that was intentional. In all of these films, you've got that one character that just grinds your fucking nerves. That was Abe for me. There are a couple of Easter eggs in this film, in the second and third acts, that made me smile, made me very happy to see as a fan of the video game. There is one actor in this film who's in the trailer that I suspected would have a smaller part in the film, but actually it plays a fairly substantial role. I was very happy to see that. But overall, I mean, it's a solid movie. The gore is CGI mostly, but still well done. Some of the kills are gruesome. They're violent. Some of them are hilariously disgusting. There is an environmental threat on one of the nights that had everybody in the theater bouncing between and just laughing, because it's just so over the top. But that's exactly what I've come to expect from a film like this, and it should be that way. This is definitely one that if you get a chance to see it in a busy theater, you should. The rowdier the crowd, the better, as long as they're not Minecraft rowdy. But overall, I mean, as far as final thoughts go on this one, I really enjoyed it. I think it was worth the price of admission. I'm not going to say this is something that you have to run out and absolutely see in theaters. I think there are films out there in theaters right now, as of the release of this video, that are more deserving of your money. That being said, I mean, this is just, it's a fun movie. If you want to go and just have some fun and forget about shit that's going on around you, and have a good time and jump a little bit, this is a good movie to do it. So yeah, so for everybody out there, thanks for watching. If you've stuck with me for a while, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the fact that you find something interesting, or at least entertaining in my reviews. For those that have stopped by the first time, welcome. Appreciate you sitting through the review. I hope you got something out of it as well. As always, remember to like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on Until Dawn. Go back, check out some of my other reviews. Let me know what you think about those. But yeah, until next time, grab a friend, grab a partner, grab some popcorn, and go see a movie. Go sit in a dark room with a bunch of strangers and take your mind off all the other shit that's going on. Till next time, cheers.